come along and sit yourself down here at the fireside in the Fife Folk Museum. I was just mixing up my clouty dumpling, but I can stop for a minute because I can tell you're after a wee story. Now I'm going to tell you another one of Duncan Williamson's stories, a traveller tale that I like to tell at this time of year. Now the old collie Doug got up from its sheltering place and stretched and thought to himself, aye, I need to go for a wee wander, I'm feeling a wee bit hungry. Now, this old collie Doug didn't belong to anybody in particular. Maybe had belonged to somebody at one time, but now it just belonged to the whole village. And it would wander about, and his friends would give him bits of scrap to eat. But this day, when he was wandering through the village hoping to find some of his human friends to give him something to eat, there was nobody about. And he noticed that, the curtains were closed and the lights were blazing. And then he minded, it was Christmas. Everybody would be inside celebrating their Christmas. He wasn't going to meet anybody. So he thought to himself, aye, I'll go and walk up to the big house. My friend the Peacock, he bides there. He's usually got a few scraps left in his bowl. And so he wandered up to the big house and round about the back, and sure enough, there was Peacock sitting on a fence post. "Och, good day to you, collie Doug," said the Peacock. "Are you just out for a wee wander?" "Aye, I was hoping to bump into somebody. I was hoping to bump into somebody that would give me a wee bite to eat. But there's nobody about. Everybody's inside, celebrating their Christmas." "Aye, that's right," said the Peacock. "Yeah, the laird and all his family, they're all inside as well, celebrating their Christmas. But I've got some scraps in my bowl. You could hae them." "Oh, thank ye, you're kind," said the collie Doug. "Aye, I was just thinking," said Peacock, "that you ken there'll be some folk that are celebrating and they'll hae plenty, but there'll be other folk that are no celebrating because they'll no hae anything to celebrate. It's funny how some folk hae a lot and some folk hae nothing at all." "Aye, I was thinking that too," said the collie Doug. "Especially when I passed the old wifey's cottage at the other end of the village. There was no lights on there, you ken, and hardly ony reek coming out of her lum. I haven't seen her for a day or two. She's usually got a bite for me to eat, even though she's no got much for herself." Aye, it's a shame that. It's a shame we can't do something to help her," said the Peacock. Well, they blendered on like this, the pair of them, and eventually the old tomcat come wandering past. Now the old tomcat, he belonged to the village too, and he lived on scraps that the folk left out for him. And he says to the other two, "Oh, good day to you both. Are you just here having a wee blether?" And Peacock says, "Aye, we were just blethering. We were just saying that how it's a shame that some folk hae a lot and some folk hae nothing at all." "Oh, I ken, I was thinking that too," said the tomcat. "I walked past the old woman's house at the end of the village just no half an hour ago. There was no lights on and no reek coming for her lum. We were saying that, we were just saying it's a pity we can't do something to help her." "I've got an idea," said the Peacock. "You see over there? That's the laird's peat stack. I'm sure he wouldn't notice if I took a couple of peats and we took them down to the old wifey's house. At least she'd hae something, a fire, a bit of heat this Christmas. Aye, said the dog, that would be a good idea, but you ken it's one thing haeing a bit of heat, but it's no much use if you dinna hae onything to eat. I've got an idea. Now all the shops, they're all shut because it's Christmas. But I ken a back way into the butcher's shop. He sometimes leaves a bucket out for me with all some banes in it. But I'm sure he wouldn't mind if I helped myself a string of sausages. Oh, that's a good idea. That's a good idea, said the peacock. Ah, and I hae a secret or twa, said the cat. I ken how to get into the fishmonger's. He leaves a bucket of fish heads for me now and again, but I'm sure he wouldn't mind if I helped myself a couple of kippers. Great idea, said the peacock. We can tack them down and gie that old wifey her Christmas. Now off you go and get what you can, and we'll meet back here. So the dog went awa and into the butcher's shop and helped himself a string or twa of sausages, and very carefully carried them back. And the cat, well, he went in to the fishmonger's and helped himself a couple of kippers and carefully carried them back to the big house, where the peacock was waiting with a peat under one wing and a peat under the other wing. And they turned and they walked through the village all the way to the other end till they came to the old wifey's cottage. Well, when they got there was a hullet sitting on the gate post. What are you up to? Said the hullet. Well, said the peacock, we're just tatting this poor old wifey for Christmas. She's no got onything you ken, so we thought we'd bring her some fire and something to eat. That's good of you, said the hullet. I could come in too. And so they went out to the old wife's door and they scratched and they scraped at it until eventually she opened it up a crack and says, oh, my friends, I'm sorry, I didn't hae onything for you the night. I've not even got onything for myself. But the craters didn't pay any attention to her, they just walked right past, right into her front room, and they laid down the peat in front of the fire, and they laid down the sausages and the kippers. Well, she says, goodness me, you've brought me my Christmas. Oh, I can't thank you enough. Now I'll put the peat on the fire, and soon it'll be burning up, and I'll go awa and I'll cook the food, and we can share it, and you can share my Christmas with me. Well, she went awa ben the house to cook the sausages and the kippers, and the fire blazed up, and the four friends sat around the fire and they says, well, we've brought her her Christmas, but it's not very Christmas-like in here. She doesn't hae a Christmas tree. Well, we can't get a Christmas tree, said the peacock. We can't find a Christmas tree the now, you know. But I've got an idea. Hullet, you gan and sit up on the mantelpiece there. And Cat, you sit at the other side of the fire. And I'll just stand here in front. And he did. And he opened his tail up. And when the old wife come back in, she saw the light for the fire shining in the hullet's een and in the cat's een and shining off the colourful tail of the peacock. And she says, oh my, look at all these twinkling lights. It's almost as good as a Christmas tree. Come on now, let's share this food. And they did. They ate the sausages and they ate the kippers. And when they were done, she opened the door and the four friends they left the house, feeling pleased with themselves that they'd brought a wee bit of Christmas happiness to that old wifey. And that's the end of my story. And I hope you have a lot of Christmas happiness this year. It's not been a very good year, but I hope it's a better one next year. And the folk here at the Fife Folk Museum would just like me to wish you a Merry Christmas and a good New Year.